Hello, I'm Christopher from Learnry. In this video, we will learn how to receive and handle data from users in the Python programming language. By the end of this video, you will know everything that has to do with receiving and handling any kind of data or information from a user for use in a Python application. So let's start off by taking a look at what the Python input function is. So there are hardly any programs without any input. Input can come in various ways. For example, from a database, another computer, mouse clicks and movements, or from the internet. So for this purpose, Python provides the input function for receiving information from Python application users. The input function has an optional parameter which is the prompt text and is normally printed in the command prompt interface. If the input function is called, the program flow will be stopped until the user has given an input and has ended the input by pressing the enter or the return key. Okay, so as always, I have my command prompt interface opened on the left hand side of my screen and my Visual Studio Code editor open on the right hand side. Again, I have gone ahead and created a Python file ahead of time with the name of inputs, and inside it I have typed out some examples so that you don't have to sit and watch me type all of that. So let's start off by running our Python file to see what the file currently does. And we are going to do this by using the command Python followed by the name of the file, which is inputs.py. Let's hit enter, and as we can see, currently the file does nothing. That is because every line of code in the file has been commented out. So now let's talk about the input function. So in order for us to use the Python input function, we basically have to type out the keyword input followed by an opening and closing parenthesis, as we can see in line 1. So let's uncomment line 1, and we are going to save our file, go back to our command prompt interface, and we are going to run the Python file again. And now as you can see, our command prompt interface is blinking, meaning that it is waiting for us to make an input. So let's enter 5, and for us to effect this particular entry, we have to either press on the enter key or the return key. So I'm going to press on the enter key, and as you can see, nothing happened because we have called the input function and we have passed a value to it, but we are not using the value for anything at all in our file. So let's comment line 1 again, and let's go ahead and uncomment lines 2 and 3, and let's save our file, go back to our command prompt interface. But before that, let's get some understanding of what is happening in lines 2 and 3. So in line 2, a variable has been declared with the name of name, and also the input function has been called. And as we said earlier on, anytime we call the input function, you can always pass an optional parameter, which is going to be a string of text that will normally be displayed in the command prompt interface for the purposes of explaining what the input is going to be about. So when a piece of data is supplied to the input function, that particular data is going to be stored inside our name variable. Then when we come to line 3, which is a print function, that particular function is going to pick whatever data that is stored inside the name variable, and it is going to print it alongside this string of text that says, how are you? So let's save our file, go back to our command prompt interface, and we are going to run our Python file again. Now you can see we got a label that says, please enter your name. So let's enter Bill, and when we hit enter, now you can see that the print function basically took the name that we supplied, which is Bill, and it simply added the string of text which says, how are you? So if you look over here, you can see we have Bill, how are you? Now let's comment out lines 2 and 3 and save our file. Then we are going to uncomment lines 5 to 7, and we are again going to save our file. So in line 5, a variable has been declared with the name of number 1, and also the input function has been called so that whatever data that is passed to the input function will be stored inside the variable with the name of number 1. So in line 6, another variable has been declared with the name of number 2, and again the input function has been called so that whatever data that is passed, that particular data is going to be stored inside the second variable which has the name of number 2. Then we come to line 7, which is basically a print function. That particular function is going to pick whatever data that is stored inside the first variable, and it is going to add that to whatever piece of data that is stored in the second variable. But as you can see, we have this other function here, the int function. And that is because any piece of data that is passed to the input function is converted to a string. Now, you cannot pick two strings and add them. So what this particular int function is doing is, it is going to pick whatever data that is stored inside the number one variable, and it's going to convert it to an integer. Then this particular int function is also going to pick whatever piece of data that is stored in the second variable, and it is going to convert it to an integer. So when both values have been converted to integers, they are going to be added and then printed to the console. So let's save our file again and go to the command prompt interface, and we are going to press the up arrow key once, hit enter, and now you can see we have a prompt that says enter number 1. So we are going to enter 10, then we are going to hit enter to effect this particular input. Then we can see that there's a second prompt that says enter number 2. We are going to enter 20, and we are also going to hit enter to effect the entry. Now you can see that we got 30 down here, meaning that this 10 was simply added to the 20, and that is how come we got 30. So that is basically how the input function works. You just basically need the keyword input followed by an opening and closing parenthesis, and optionally you can pass a string of text to better explain what the user is supposed to enter. So basically that sums it up for the Python input function. So the question of the day is, what is wrong with the code below? You can leave your answer in the comment section below. Okay, so if you are new to this channel and found this video helpful, then click on the subscribe button and the bell notification icon below so that you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded. Bye for now, and I'll see you in the next lesson.